I'm officially a couple of days overdue with baby number 3. Thought that she would be here by 8 p.m. yesterday, and she was not. When you know that a baby could come literally any time, it really does feel like that week between Christmas and New Year's where you don't really know what to do with yourself. It feels like it's not the right time to make any significant plan, and you just kind of get lost in that weird vortex of like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are seeing this vlog, it is because I'm still pregnant. I have been debating on whether or not to do another vlog since my last video, but honestly, I feel like I'm at that stage of pregnancy right now where I'm a couple days out from my due date and I'm just like trying not to go crazy. I always find that it's such a weird waiting game as you approach your due date, especially because it really is just a guess. It's just an estimate as to when baby is going to arrive, and I've been trying not to get too caught up about it, but as you guys know, there was kind of like 2 due dates that are floating around, neither of which I've shared. Both of them kind of fell in April and were like a week apart from each other, and that didn't change towards the end of my pregnancy. It was actually something that came up in the very beginning based on the first ultrasound, but it's kind of on me because I was the one that was working off of the later due date and had that like in the app that I was using to track throughout the whole pregnancy. So then it didn't even come up until the end where it was like, oh, we're operating off of different due dates here. So the second due date is still possible, but the first due date is what everyone is thinking, and I'm just trying to not put really any stock in it at all and honestly just stay busy as I would with my regular life, because what else can you do? You can't sit around all day and wait for a baby to show up when they're not ready to show up. So I am vlogging, I am organizing my house, I've been decluttering like crazy. As you guys know, we had some people in here working on our kitchen, which is almost done. There's a few things that aren't 100% done yet. Honestly, I've just been trying to fill my time with different things, especially because the days that I'm like home with the kids right now, I feel like I'm too pregnant to like get out of the house and be running around because I get so many Braxton Hicks and I'm just like so out of breath from trying to wrangle them. We've just been having a lot of very slow days at home, and I figured that I might as well do a little bit more decluttering just in here. So let's kill some time together and do some decluttering. While I'm down here, I will also show you my new little like postpartum basket. I had one that was up on the counter before, but I didn't love the clutter, so my mom brought this over. As you can see, children have been rummaging through it, but I just thought that would be a nice way to kind of feel a little bit more organized and like have less clutter around, because there is just so much like baby and birth gear out right now. And I've also just not done a good declutter of these drawers in a very long time. While we're just hanging out, I thought I would give you guys the update that our kids have been sleeping a lot better in the last couple of weeks. I feel like I want to knock on wood every time I say that, because I know that that could change like at any moment in time. But for the last couple of weeks, they have both been sleeping through the night, and bedtime has been a lot smoother, which is a big answer to prayer, because Jared and I were really nervous about what that was going to look like, just with night wakings with the newborn and trying to navigate that with all 3 of them being awake. So we did get over a bout of stomach flu in our house last week. Everyone seems to be recovered now. Praise the Lord, I didn't actually get that. And so there was like a couple of night wakings for that 1 week, but otherwise it has been very smooth. And I actually feel like I'm going to be going into birth relatively well rested, which is such a gift, especially because 3rd trimester sleep can be so spotty. But I've been staying on top of taking magnesium and trying to get to sleep at like a decent time, and so far so good. I feel like I need to just pull everything out of these drawers. I have so much sunscreen and like random skincare products I need to sort through. This one is honestly just embarrassing. I've got like hair tools shoved in here. I have so many products. This is just like the reality of trying to prepare for a newborn with 2 young children around. Staying on top of like the insides of drawers is like the first thing to go on my list.
Mystery, it's all that I could see. Take me back to the garden and walk with me.
So here is everything that I pulled out of these 2 drawers. Ideally, this one would be all of my quick grabs, like my makeup bag, deodorant, anything that I need really accessible. And then this one, like hair care stuff. I'm not sure what I want to do in terms of skincare. I have like another bin in here that I need to go through and organize, and I might try and move all my excess products in there because I don't feel like I need to throw out all of this sunscreen, but I don't need to have all of it in my drawer that I'm using every day. So let's just start by putting all of the hair tools in here, and then after that I will organize the skincare thing in there to see what we can move over. Bud. I think it's finally time to say goodbye to these palettes that I've been using since university, or not using because they've been sitting in here the whole time. This must have been a stocking stuffer or something that we got one year, but I literally never use things like this, so we're gonna get rid of it. It's very messy in here, buddy. This is very messy. We had a screen. Reversing my progress. So here's everything that I kept from those 2 drawers and that like acrylic drawer that was in there. I washed it out and then organized it based on samples that I still want to use or products that I just don't need yet because I have like extra of things like retinol that I can't actually use right now until I'm not either pregnant or breastfeeding. I also thank you for that. I also had a ton of stuff that was expired, so that was helpful to just go through. Put it in. Thank you. All right, so this whole section has been reorganized. We have hair care products and hair tools down here. Up here is all of the stuff that I use like most often. So my makeup bag, some lotions, self-tanner, some floss, teeth whitening strips, deodorant, and then I also went through and organized this whole section as well. This door is like fully off the hinge. Needs to be reinstalled. But as you guys saw, I went through and put all of my excess products in there. I have some like face cloths up here, some excess nursing pads, some heavy duty postpartum pads, a couple more just like extra products and things like that in this section. So I feel like all of this is looking much better. And this over here was all the reject pile. So some of this will be recycling, some of this will just be garbage. I need to go through it again, but I think we did a pretty good job, Jude. What do you think?
My eyes were filled with wonder, my heart was filled with peace. Lost in the mystery, it's all that I could see. Take me back to the garden and walk with me.
Made in your perfect design, pure in heart and mind. Known by your loving eyes, held in heaven's divine, and you're mine.
I'm now officially at my due date as of today. Still no baby, which is kind of what I expected. But yesterday threw me for a loop. I was convinced that I was having her because basically around 11 a.m. yesterday, I started getting contractions and like intense, just like downward pressure. And it started to build over intensity over the first hour that it was happening to the point where we almost canceled plans. Then I ended up deciding that I still wanted to go because I wanted to just like walk around and try and encourage things. So while we were out, I was having to like stop and pause and take breaks and literally like work through the contractions. So while we were out, I was saying to my husband at like, I think noon that day, that I thought that she would be here by 8 p.m. yesterday, and she was not, so I was obviously wrong. I think it was just like a really intense, hi baby. Hi, honey. I think it was just a really intense kind of bout of prodromal labor, which I've had before, but honestly, I've never experienced anything quite like that, where I was truly convinced I was going to have a baby. There was like 4 or 5 instances yesterday where we were like, should we set up the tub? Should we call the midwives? And I just kept putting it off and putting it off because I was like, I feel like at this point they would have picked up in intensity. And they were like intense contractions that I was having to work through, but they weren't getting more intense, if that makes sense. They were just kind of staying as they were. So it ended up honestly just being an exhausting day, because from 11 a.m.-ish to like 9 p.m. I was having contractions basically every 4 to, I would say, 12 minutes. They started to get a little bit more scattered apart, but they would be 60 seconds long. I was like breathing through them, and it was more of just the mental game of like, is she coming tonight? Is it going to be the middle of the night now? Like, what are the logistics of this? So I ended up calling the midwife at 9 just to let them know kind of what was happening during the day. What ended up happening is I just went to bed, I think at like 10, and just tried to sleep it off. I took Tylenol, and then I ended up sleeping through the night. The kids slept through the night and woke up today still pregnant. So prodromal labor can be so frustrating because it's not really working to progress you in terms of dilation. It can help to get your baby in the right spot and like help gear you up for labor, but for the most part, it's just draining and frustrating. So far today, it's been a pretty chill day. I haven't really had any contractions. My back is feeling extra sore today because I feel like I had a lot of contractions in my back yesterday. Honestly, I feel like I just want to get out of the house today just to have something to do, and I think that that will distract me and take my mind off things and also give you some friends to play with. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, I will sing your praises forevermore. Ooh, forevermore. Ooh, forevermore. Ooh, forevermore. Ooh. And now I know you've called me here. In you I'm standing tall. Now I know there's no dark to fear. I'll praise for.
I am officially a couple of days overdue with baby number 3. So I have just been trying to find the balance between keeping myself busy and relaxing over the past couple days. When you know that a baby could come literally any time and completely change your life, it really does feel like that week between Christmas and New Year's where you don't really know what to do with yourself. It feels like it's not the right time to make any significant plan, and you just kind of get lost in that weird vortex of like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? That is very much how I've been feeling this week. Right now it's actually a Sunday and my whole family is at church right now except for me, which is kind of sad. I do not like missing church, but I, for whatever reason, last night woke up at like 4 a.m. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear the sound of the dryer in the background. That's another thing I've been doing, is washing everything in our house and having everything like washed and put away at one time, just for something to do. But anyway, I was up last night at like 4 a.m. and I just had this like crazy adrenaline rush. I don't know how to describe it. Honestly, it could have been anxiety, but it didn't really feel like worry or anything like that. I just woke up and could not fall back asleep. So I have been up since then. I think it was around 5 when I finally just like got up, got ready for the day, came out, made like a big pancake breakfast for everybody before church. And since then I have tried to take a nap, but that was unsuccessful. So I'm doing what I know how to do best, and that is finding more tasks for myself to distract myself. I've been doing some cleaning up around the house today, laundry, vacuuming. I might get to some organizing, but what I wanted to do right now is use up the rest of the frozen bananas that I had in the freezer to have like a pumpkin banana muffin just on hand, whether for myself or for the kids. So join me in making some yummy banana muffins.
Strengthen all my weakness. You're the healer of my wounds. and joy instead of mourning. Teach my heart to follow you, my guide ever before me, speaking light upon my path, forever here around me. Fear won't overwhelm your love, and I know you're the King who has called me by name. From now till forever, when you take me home. And Jesus, I will sing your praises, declare them in the valley, shout them on the mountain top. And Jesus, I will sing your praises forevermore.
Okay, so muffins are in the oven for about 30 minutes now. I have not spent a lot of time on postpartum meal prep or freezer meals or things like that. There's a couple reasons for that. One of them being that we have a meal train lined up. So basically, if you've never heard of that before, it's a platform where people can sign up in your community, whether that's church community, friends, or family, to essentially make meals and drop them off at your house for dinner and things like that when you have a newborn. And that has been such a blessing to us in the past. But the other thing is that we also have Jared's mom here with us now. She's here for I think a total of 3 weeks and is basically just here as support so that when I go into labor, she's available to jump in and be present with the kids, especially if it's like during the day and we need the kids to be taken out. I'm not planning on having them be like present and kind of around and aware when the birth is happening. Ideally, they'll just sleep through it, but even if they were to wake up through the night, she would kind of jump in for that. So she's also here to help with like meals and things like that. But the other reason that I haven't been doing too much in the kitchen is because we are actually in the process right now of having our kitchen completely refaced, is kind of the word that I would use for it. If you haven't seen my nesting vlog, at the end of that vlog, I kind of gave you guys a little bit of a sneak peek of that. But essentially we worked with a team called 180 Transformations, and they do cabinet refinishing and like painting services. So they came in to our house and they took all of the cupboards off. They gave them a deep clean, sanded them down, got them into like the most pristine condition for cabinets that are old and needed just new life. And then out in our garage, they actually had this whole setup. It was insane, where they used industrial sprayers to actually paint our cabinets and give them like a very just fresh new finish, as opposed to that like older, darker 90s style wood. I debated for a while on whether or not I wanted them to refinish with like another wood tone, but the tone that it was really didn't allow us to do anything other than go kind of darker, and I wasn't obsessed with the grain on it, and just kind of felt like with a lot of the light that we have in our kitchen, that going for something that is more of like a creamy beige could really just bring the kitchen to life. So all of that cabinet painting took place a couple of weeks ago. They wanted it all to be done before baby girl arrived, and it honestly looks so good in there. When all of the cabinet faces were off and they had those out in the garage, they had already done like the exterior of the cabinets, but it was such a perfect opportunity for me to go in and declutter, because basically our entire kitchen was just exposed and I had to live with it that way for like a week. So I feel like it was very helpful to just see what spots looked like they were cluttered, what things I had maybe been hanging on to that we didn't need. We did a full declutter of the spice cabinet and took all of those spices out. We basically went through and just made sure that everything that was expired was taken out. I went through our pantry row by row and sorted through to see if there was anything in there that was also expired, and I honestly found so much food in there that was like things that I had saved, like a couple of pasta noodles in a bag because I just didn't want the food to go to waste. But But there was just a lot of different instances like that where things had been kind of shoved to the back and the system wasn't really working for us anymore. I just hadn't had the time with 2 young kids to like go through and really organize all of that for a very long time. So it was the perfect opportunity to clear everything out, kind of give each shelf of the pantry a more like functional section and just have a better understanding of what we want to have in there going forward. The other thing that 180 transformation did for us was our backsplash. I have personally never been a huge fan of the gray backsplash that's in our kitchen. It was a choice from the previous owners, and the frustrating thing is that it was a recent choice that they did to kind of like revitalize and modernize the kitchen. So it was new backsplash, and every time I thought about pulling that out and actually replacing it, it just felt like such waste to me because I know that they would have invested a lot of money into that. And so I have always wanted to repurpose it like we were planning to do with the cabinets and not have to throw everything to the side, but say, okay, here's what we've got. How can we refresh this to make it a little bit more us without starting from scratch and wasting all the material? So 180 Transformations also offers tile painting, and essentially it's like a really high quality paint. All of their paint is like the same high quality paint that's sourced from Italy, but that one specifically is really durable and designed for tiles, so it wears very well, it wipes very well, and they came in and painted that entire backsplash for us to a very nice like off-white shade. I believe the one that I went with for the backsplash was White Dove by Benjamin Moore, and the cabinets were Natural Cream by Benjamin Moore. But you guys, it looks so good in there. I actually cannot get over how much better the backsplash looks and how much brighter the kitchen looks with it all being white and cream. And the other really nice thing about the backsplash is that it actually cleans so much better now than it did before. The finish on the original backsplash was very, very glossy, very shiny. And so I found that throughout the day as the sun would hit it, it would expose basically anything that got on it. If I was cooking, any oil splatters, if I didn't wipe the entire like face of the backsplash to the whole kitchen, you would actually see the streaks of where I finished each time. So I just felt like I could never get it to really look clean, and that problem is like entirely gone. I don't know if you guys are gonna get a final reveal in this vlog. I might have to do a full kitchen reveal in a future vlog just because there's a few things that aren't finalized yet. The counters are staying as is, even though they are a little bit outdated. I find that they actually complement the new colors in the kitchen very, very well, so we're gonna leave those. But I did replace all of the hardware on the cabinets, and I wanted bucket pulls across the bottom cabinets and kind of like a more softer, not antique, but just classic looking pull on the doors. And basically the colors that I chose didn't match when they showed up. They're both really pretty, but they're slightly different from each other. And the other thing is that I completely calculated wrong when it came to how many I needed. So we're still 7 handles short, and I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to replace the bucket handles to match the other ones more closely, or if I should just live with it. So there's all these little things that are still kind of not finalized yet. But the other thing that we are going to be changing out before it's like completely done is the light fixtures in the kitchen. And one of them literally just arrived on our doorstep a couple minutes ago, so I thought I would unbox it and just show you guys. This is like very well packaged. So this light fixture I got to go over our kitchen island. I wanted something just very dainty. I'm hoping it's not too small for that spot, but the tricky thing is because we live in a bungalow and it's so open concept over there that there's like 4 different light fixtures that are all very close to each other, and I wanted them to all match and kind of go together nicely. So we'll have to see if this is the right size for that spot, but this is what it looks like. It's a ceramic pendant that has almost that like scalloped look to it, and then this little gold cap that will go up on the ceiling. So I don't know if I mentioned it, but we're doing gold accents for all the hardware in the kitchen. And the final thing that I needed to do was swap out the fixtures. So I'm hoping that works for above the island. Again, I will share before and afters on everything as soon as I can. If you are local, definitely check out 180 Transformations. They did such a good job in there. I was honestly so impressed with it. And when you think about the cost of a full kitchen renovation for all of the new cabinets and backsplash and all of those different things, that can be like $50,000 or more, and the cost of what they do is like literally 10% of that, if not less than that, depending on the size of your kitchen. So definitely check them out. I'll put a link for them in the description box. But what I need to do right now is pull out the vacuum because I have made a hot mess of styrofoam in my living room. Okay, so still pregnant, made it to my midwife's appointment today at I think like 40-3. I actually decided today that I did want to get a cervical check. Last time I didn't do any cervical checks. I felt like I was very in my head about them. They made me very anxious, especially because my birth prior to that one was an induction, and it was all like, you're not dilating, you're not looking good from a cervical ripening perspective, and I just didn't want to have that kind of like confusion and frustration going into my second birth. But this time I feel like I'm in a much better headspace. I feel confident that this girl is going to come on her own time when she's ready, and because I don't have those doubts, I feel like, funnily enough, it actually made me want to do the cervical check today just to have an idea of where things are at. So they said that I was about 4 centimeters and 70% effaced. It did give me a lot of confidence that things are going in the right direction. So we're not talking about induction right now. It's not even something that's like on the table for me. And I'm just going to kind of see how things go this week. I'm going to try and do some walking this afternoon, maybe some other things to help stimulate labor. I'm going to wrap this vlog up here because I don't know, I might be transitioning to filming my birth vlog very soon. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for praying for us. And I am believing that I will have a successful birth update for you guys soon. Bye.